What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Brennan. I'm BManX45, and today we're coming at you with another video. We are looking at the Digimon TCG, a year in review. What has 2025 brought? What kind of things did we really look forward to in this new year, and how has the game changed since the beginning of, the end of 2024, beginning of 2025 to now as we, head towards 2026. So we're going to be looking at all the sets, all the stuff we got, and just talking about it and having some fun, reminiscing on the journey we've made in the Digimon TCG for this year. And hey, if you enjoy this type of content, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. We love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe to your channel, subscribe to this channel. You can subscribe to your channel too. I don't know if you can actually do that. I know you can like your own videos, but that's beside the point. But and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a single minute of the fun. All right, well, let's get into it right now here. Starting with the first set we got in 2025, which was EX8. EX8 really moved the needle for an EX set. No other EX set had done it the way this had. This is the second set. They started doing all foil cards, so that was kind of fun if you're a collector and you want to haul out your stuff. That's because they only put like 2 or 3 per box, which I really hope that they change in the future and give you more, because it's just really hard to get all those cards. The Guillemon X Antibody, Groundmon X Antibody line really revolutionized the game for Guillemon. It was the first time that we had consistent Gallantmon tops with Gallantmon X Antibody. Just such a crazy card. It introduced new Liberator lines, like the Dinomon Liberator line from Ryotaro, as well as some of the enemy NPCs like the Deep Savers. It introduced things like the NSO, the Nightmare Soldiers, and the NSP, which is the Nature Spirits. It also introduced the Sukuyamon, Renamon, X Antibody line, which also revolutionized that deck and made it a top deck to the point where they actually had to hit that deck. They didn't really hit, well, I guess they did hit Gallantmon too, but they hit an older card rather than a newer card like the Sukuyamon from BT19. I think it was the one that got hit. You got more ace cards, started to get things like all your like these guys, the Dark Masters, as ace cards. Actually, I don't think we've had a Machine Dramon ace yet. Is the only one, but none of the ace versions are actual Dark Masters. So that was kind of interesting to have ace versions of the Dark Masters that were not Dark Masters. Getting new Aegis Dramon support, which was a lot more consistent than the old stuff, as well having, other things in the set. We had the start of the Pyridimon, the Rock Mineral trait deck, which was really cool. Not tournament ready to begin with, but would later become very, very strong. So that was a really cool thing. People were more Liberator decks that people really, really liked. I mean, like the excuse me, but we had Shoto, we had Fable Waltz. We didn't have the Ghost deck at the time, and then we had Hexablau, but that was usually only being used in blue decks. Hexablau not actually using the ice, the ice deck as it was. So there was that as well. And I believe, if I was right, and I kind of missed it, this set also had, it also had the Scatymon stuff, which was the Suzune line. That deck has never really taken off. People really like the Tyrannomon one, but that deck, again, had some tops. Dinomon had some tops, but it's really never taken off. Not as much as the Rock deck. And, of course, the main character decks like Fable Waltz and Grand Galemon, or Zephigamon, sorry. So we also had more Justymon support. Justymon still struggling as a deck to kind of reach that threshold for tournaments. This was the Nightmare Soldier stuff. Like I said, non-Dark Masters. We finally got our first Barbamon So actually, no, sorry, not our first Barbamon, but our Barbamon X Antibody, which was funny because EX6 we got our first Barbamon, which was our final 7 Demon Lord. So only two EX sets later, we had an X Antibody version of him, which is funny because we still don't have X Antibody versions of all of them. Creepymon's the only one that doesn't have an X Antibody form, and I think we're going to be getting one in the next set, BT24, so we'll have X Antibodies of all of the 7 Demon Lords. I'm interested to see if they start doing X Antibody versions with multiple colors of all of the 7 Demon Lords, kind of like how they, with the Royal Knights, they are doing X Antibody versions with like 3 colors now that are just more OP than the originals. So that'd be interesting to see. And then, of course, we got, more of these cool legend packs, which are really cool alts. But then, of course, we got the 2 cards, Gallantmon X Antibody, Medieval Gallantmon, just such an amazing cards, and just cards that have shaped the format. Both Gallantmon X Antibody used in multiple decks, not just Gallantmon, but also used to help Gallantmon consistently top for the first time, and Medieval Gallantmon, just such a powerful card that's put in a lot of work in a lot of decks, and brought some decks back from the brink, really, and gave them opportunities to top. This card is probably going to be remembered as one of the best EX cards next to Ruin Mode in the game that we've ever seen. So that was part of EX8. And then we went into, of course, the rest of BT19 and BT20. Unfortunately, BT19, between BT18 and BT20, and then they split up BT19 for the 2.0 and 2.5 sets. BT19 really got forgotten about. Even though there was a lot of powerful cards for a lot of decks, BT9 got overshadowed, mostly because things like Talmon got hit right away, so that the loop was unavailable. But it really got overshadowed by the other 2 sets. You can see here there was some decent support for all your favorite Tamer decks, Crossheart support that really didn't end up making its mark on the format. It just didn't do what it was supposed to. Blast Mode Ace didn't really do anything for the deck. Cards like this are really great, but didn't really see play until we got more support, sets down the road. The focus really more so than these guys. This added support to things like EX8, but really the focus didn't shift or it shifted straight to BT20. So, BT20 was the set that gave you gave you the Liberator Ghost deck. It gave you a new Examon deck. It gave you a Virus Imperial deck, Huckmon support. This is where Ganku Turtles started, with the cards in this set being able to do stuff like that. And you got Imperial Dramon Fighter Mode, which was a really good card that not everyone could play this deck because you had to have promo Shadramon, which was an amazing, shot up in price because it was such an old promo, and created kind of like an area where people couldn't play this deck. But if you played this deck, you'd probably do well with it. I mean, I took it to Ultimate Cup and got the top 16, so that was really great. Just such a great deck and so much fun, as well as the new Jesmon support. You had Oriumon and Alphamon support for the new Oriuken build. You had really cool level 7 aces like Jesmon GX. First time getting like some really strong level 7 aces that could be used in so many decks. Like I said, you had all this new Examon support, which didn't really amount to much in the long run. You had things like the Excel deck, which is basically Chaosmon Valderarm. The combination of Boncho Leomon and Veroduramon. So that was kind of cool as well. Examon Ace was a very cool card, and it did a lot for the deck in general, but just didn't push it over the heights that it needed to go. And then, of course, like I said, you had the Invisimon line, which was another Liberator line, which didn't really take off, but the card Invisimon was a good tech choice in decks like Galaxy that could use like a variety of top-end blue cards. So, I mean, gave that deck more support. Genkumon X Antibody, which I think is a card that's going to have to get looked at in the future because of its ability to give invulnerability. Is going to be an interesting card in the future. Alphamon Oryukin Ace, which was not only a powerful card for this Chronicles deck, but it was a powerful card for the Royal Knight deck, which made a comeback because of this set. You had more support for the Liberator Impmon deck with more cards for the heavy metal, heavy Meldramon deck. That deck again didn't really see a takeoff point from its second set of support, so that was really sad. But you had really intense excitement around the Ghost deck. Of course, your Dino B and your Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode. That stuff was all very important to the Virus Imperial deck. You even had more Lugamon support, which that didn't really take off as well. The Seekers line didn't take off as well. But you had a lot of cool different cards in this set, and there was just so much hype for it as well. Necromon being a really good card as well. And then you had, for the first time, we had a second Death Exmon that was more themed towards a Death Exmon deck instead of just being like a Floodgate card. So that was interesting. And then, of course, we had our things like, Omekamon, a new Omekamon. You had all these cool Tamers. And then a lot of dual Tamers for the decks. And then, of course, you had things like Omnimon X Antibody, which, again, revolutionized Royal Knights as a card, as well as, was a good support card for a lot of decks needing, like, a Blitz Omnimon, this one being a little bit better than the original BT5 Blitz Omnimon. You had Zephycamon Ace. That actually helped a lot with inconsistencies in the Zephycamon deck, and it was able to top a couple times because of it, or the Bloomlord version of the deck was able to top as well. So, I mean, made strides on making that deck a lot better. The new Cool Boy Tamer was very, very good for Royal Knights as well. So this set just revolutionized things and kind of pushed right past BT19. BT19 move over. It was all about this set. Then we got our first set in the worldwide release, which was BT21 World Convergence. Gave us new things like the Hero trait and the Atmon trait stuff. Atmon hasn't really taken off as much as it probably could have, but it's had a couple tops here and there. So it is, a competitive deck. It was a competitive deck at some point. We got new stuff like the new Medusamon line, really cool deck. That deck had a few tops here and there, but really needed a lot more support. It was base support, but it is a very popular deck. Again, growing the popularity of the Liberator line. You had things like all your kind of base, Shoutmon support, hybrid support, all your main character support in this set. Gamamon support. A lot of it, which just didn't take off, unfortunately. Vmon support was actually really good. That did help Armor kind of have a little bit more of a push in this set. So Armor did, got a lot of great support, which helps with Magnamon X Antibody. A lot of the stuff didn't really land. Magnamon was pretty good. The Marcus Agumon stuff was actually pretty cool, and we did see a couple tops from it, but it mostly faded into obscurity really fast. The deck needs a big push in order to be competitive in this scene again, and not all this stuff was really what we needed for that to happen. You also had things like Dracomon X Antibody, which did a lot for the Examon deck. This card does so much for the Examon deck. Still, the deck has its problems, but this card made major strides for it. You had more these were Wind Guardians. So you had the Wind Guardian support in here, including Puppetmon Ace, which is why, like I said, the only one we don't have is a Machinedramon Ace. Examon X Antibody, which is a crazy card, and makes the deck even better as long as you can consistently get to Examon. The deck really has a memory issue. You also had the introduction of the Vemmon, Galacticmon Liberator line with the old Galacticmon support actually became one of the top decks at the time. So this, out the gate was really, really good. So it was really, really good support. You had the Adventure line, which you also had the Adventure decks at the same time. So you had Adventure support in this deck, plus you had the actual Adventure decks, which the Adventure decks took off and were actually pretty competitive for a time, combining cards from both decks, all your best level 4s and level 5s, in order to create a deck that pushes bodies out there so fast and tamers out there so fast that your opponent can't do anything about it. And then anytime your opponent tries to get rid of your level 5s, you just ace and you get rid of their stuff. So it was a very good line. No one deck was good by itself, but the amalgamation of these two decks, as well as potential support from this, really changed the way things are. We got more Growlmon, Guilmon support, which was actually very, very good. The on deletion gain 1 memory stuff was very important and pushed that deck even further. But not only that, it created an offshoot deck, which was even better, which was the Magidramon stuff, which was super good, and actually took a lot of spots in the format for a long time. Also having, a Restordramon Superior mode helped a lot with the, I'm trying to remember the, not Crossheart, but the, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember the deck. I can't even remember the deck now. Not Heroes. It was, I can't even remember what the deck's called now. Hunters. So that was the Hunter deck. Gave a lot of support to Hunter decks, while also this card gives support to a lot of purple decks. Like, it brought back some strength out of Purple Hybrid, which was crazy. So just seeing how different cards could be used in some ways. A lot of things fell flat. The new hybrid support didn't really do anything for the deck. Gamamon support didn't really do anything for the deck. The new Taiki, I think, was really good. Any of the new Crossheart Hunter cards were good for their respective decks. And there's the new Davis was really good for the armor form deck. So there's a lot of different good stuff in this set. And then of course you got your secrets. You got a lot of cool reprints in this set, new promo cards, and the signed cards, which were interesting on how low they were. But you also had things like the new Tai Kamiya for Adventure and Gaiamon. Those didn't really push the needle. This helped out Adventure a lot, and this was obviously the boss monster for Atmon at the time, but it didn't really do anything major, not like Omnimon X Antibody, or even Zephigamon. I think those were both more prevalent cards. We move along to EX9. EX9 was an interesting set, introducing the DM trait, the version traits. I wouldn't say anything in this set really did much. This was your typical EX set, had some cool stuff. Nothing really, hit. The biggest thing in this set, of course, was, as I was going to say, it was the Omnimon Alter S. This card was crazy. People started using it in the Omnimon DNA deck. This was an amazing card. You also got the Fable Waltz line, which was such a cool line with the Hanimon stuff, Kaguyamon, and Karakuramon. Super powerful cards that just did a lot of work. Of course, it made this deck really, really strong, but the deck really never, showed up to a lot of events. So I think that was part of one of the reasons why, it got tops, but then it kind of faded again into obscurity. But it was amazing deck, amazing set. But yeah, Omnimon Ultra S, super good card out of this set. The Fable Wall stuff was really, really great. The DM trait stuff, it has some good points and some bad points. There was, of course, the Eismon deck that might have done a little bit of work at a couple tournaments, but again, faded pretty fast. Most of the stuff in this set is easily forgettable. Like I said, other than the Ultra S, which even now the Ultra S is a little bit forgettable because Omnimon DNA is just not as strong as it was at the beginning of BT22 when we got the other Omnimon support. So that was unfortunate. The other good stuff that came out of this, Chimeramon support and Machine Dramon support. And Machine Dramon actually did well in the format for quite a while, but it has since faded as well. You've had cool analog decks that have made some tops here or there, but most of the stuff has kind of faded away, unfortunately. So EX9 was kind of a bust after a while. There's not a lot of things in EX9 that still get played on the regular. And of course, we had Cyber Eden. Cyber Eden was a huge change with bringing in the video game stuff into full force. The CS trait, Omnimon DNA, super strong stuff. You had, new All Force stuff. All Force stuff didn't really take off, unfortunately, as a lot of us All Force fans hoped it would. It was really cool, but the deck still has problems. But Omnimon DNA was good for a while. More Liberator support, including a level 7 for the Aqua Sea Animal deck with the decode stuff, was actually really impressive, and a lot of people wanted to play it. That deck unfortunately didn't take off as well. More Fable Waltz support, but it wasn't as good as EX9. There was a few kind of cool cards, but you had a lot of cool CS cards, Repamon, Gold Numamon, a lot of good cool CS stuff. CS unfortunately didn't take off really either. Naibootmon for Fable Waltz was really important. But the CS stuff is actually taken off now in BT23. The CS rookies are very important to the Hoodiemon deck. But you didn't have you had a lot of cool things like, you had more Royal Knight Aces in this set. You had more Diaboromon support, and I think we had a couple Diaboromon tops. So this was actually decent for Diaboromon support, and allowed the deck to do a little bit of showing. The Alphamon stuff really never took off in BT22. Of course, we got new Galaxy support. That was actually important to the deck, and Galaxy did make some showings from time to time. I really feel Galaxy is such a talented deck that you can't just play Galaxy. You have to know the ins and out of it to do well with it. But if you do, you're going far. And of course, you had really good tamers like Nokia, Rina, just some of your favorite tamers getting new cards. Mirai Mikagura is a crazy card that's good in any CS deck, especially and really good in Mastimon. And really, this card is insane, and it's insanely priced, and that's there's a reason. Of course, the new Errata was important to the Diaboromon deck, and then you had kind of generic cards like Amy Aiba, Yugo Kamashiro, all support for any type of CS trait deck. And tamers as secrets. Of course, Kayoko Kuremi didn't really do that much, but Sayo did a lot for Galaxy, so that was cool having not just one tamer in Galaxy now. And then of course we went to EX10, the villain set. There's a lot of cool stuff in the villain set. Not a lot of it stuck. This card was used as more of what's it called, the Dark Masters deck, or the what do they call it, the Megazoo deck, as a card. These two cards were used in it to force you to attack, so you had to get aced. So it never really took off in its own version of the deck. Same Creepymon support never took off. The Dark Masters stuff was kind of cool. I did play a Mallow Myotismon deck. That was actually pretty cool. But that deck is very loopy. and inconsistent sometimes due to certain cards. So you got to watch out with that deck. So that deck never really took off. The Dark Masters deck, Lucimon actually had some tops. So Lucimon support actually got some stuff in there. Again, the Atmon support just wasn't good enough. Belphemon is actually probably one of the best showings in this set. It didn't really happen right away. You had to wait until the promo came out in the tournament pack. And you had to wait until we got Belphemon X Antibody in the next set. But the Belphemon stuff has probably had the best showing of a lot of stuff in EX10. We didn't get anything. Quartzmon didn't do anything. Of course, actually, sorry, second best showing, because the best showing has to be, of course, the new rock support, the magnetic Dramon. That took the format by storm. That deck did a lot of tops. You also had the new Impmon and Beelzemon support, which again did very well. Didn't do as well as a magnetic Dramon, but it did bring this deck back into the top scene. And the new Beelzemon Ace, just super important to the set. Like I said, other decks here just didn't reach to those same heights. The Regulusmon, I don't think he did anything for the deck. The Dark Masters deck was kind of cool, but it never really took off as well. Same with Lucimon. We've had a couple showings of Lucimon, but nothing really substantial. And then, of course, Beelzemon Ace, like I said, very important. Deusmon really didn't do anything for the deck, so that hasn't changed. Although the new Digital Emperor has been a side card in certain decks, so that's a way for it to show its value. And then we get to BT23, and we kind of know what BT23 is all about. It brought the new Jesmon support, which has been very good for the Ganku line. We talked about it yesterday in our video about the health of the game. We talked about the Hoodiemon line. It did a lot of work. It's got one line of support in this set. Massimon support, the new Angelwoman, Lady Devimon, and the new Massimon has been huge for the Massimon deck, plus the Mirai from BT22. You haven't seen a lot of other cards really in this set. There's been a couple Royal Knights that have been really good, like the new Dynasmon and the new Gallantmon are getting played in those sets. The new Magnamon is getting played, the new Craniumon is getting played, and the new Gankumon is all getting played in Royal Knights, so it strengthened Royal Knights from their hit. And other than that, all your Hoodiemon support. Unfortunately, Tiger Vespamon Ace hasn't done much for the Royal Base deck. The support for that deck wasn't really hitting its mark. The new Examon is actually really good for the Examon deck, but still the deck suffers its regular inconsistency problems. So there's that as well. The Zaxxon stuff, that stuff didn't really take off as well. The new Ghost support is very, very good, but that didn't really go anywhere either. Grand Drachmon, I don't believe that deck has enough support yet in order to be competitive. And then the Belphemon X Antibody was actually really good, both for 7 Demon Lords and for both for 7 Demon Lords and for Belphemon. We've seen tops for both of them. Very rarely, but it's like I said, it's done pretty well. The new Sistermons have been great. All the Hoodie Tamers are just insane. So they've done really well. Takumi Aiba doesn't see play though. He's not a very important card. I haven't seen many decks play Takumi at all. And then of course Mastimon and Hoodiemon being the center of this set. Both amazing cards. Both basically redefine the format in their own way. So these secrets definitely put in some work, whereas other ones in this year haven't. And then, of course, we have Advanced Deck, Amethyst Mandala, which is putting in some new Sakuyamon support, putting in work for that deck. We haven't really seen the results of that yet. It's been too short since it came out. I mean, I faced a Amethyst Mandala deck at the last tournament, and I got smoked with my Mastimon deck. The speed of this deck is just amazing, and it can OTK you really, really fast, so you got to be careful. So yeah, I would say that this is good support. I would say it's probably the weakest of all of the advanced decks at the time of release based on the format. I would say that if it was released at the same time as Double Typhoon, the argument can be made that this is better than Double Typhoon. But just the way the game is now, I would say this is the weakest one in relation to the format. But that is our year in review, guys. That is all the stuff we got. What set was your favorite? What decks were your favorite? And which decks did you really enjoy? Which decks did you really want to get off the ground that really didn't get off the ground? And what do you think they need in order to push forward? Let me know in the comments down below. Tell me what you guys thought about the year in review for Digimon. And we'll see, we'll see you in another video, obviously. Try and get some more content out for Christmas time. It is kind of hard. Things are kind of drying up. The well is drying up, and, you got to have some ideas about what to do at this time of year. So we'll try and push out some more support. But let me know your guys' thoughts about all this down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this as always, and thank you for joining us for our year in review. Looks like that's all the time we have for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next video. And as always, have a wonderful day. And that's all for now, folks.